It's October, my dudes, which means it is time to get heckin' spoopy. I'm ready AF, got my iconic orange bathrobe, and that's regular coffee, but we can pretend it's some pumpkin spice bullshit. Neat. And also, I've been wanting to make Let's Plays for a while, and you guys have requested that I do Let's Plays many times, so it's the occasion to kill two birds with one stone and do a spoopy Let's Play for the month of October. So after a bit of thought and kind of a dilemma, I choose Shadowman. Now, Shadowman is a game that I already played a long time ago when I was a kid, and I really loved it. And I think it's kind of underrated. It's got pretty cool gameplay, but on top of that, it's got a really great fleshed out world with a deep lore and adult themes, and yeah, it's a cool game with, and it's based around voodoo, which is quite a rare thing in fiction. I don't know a lot of fictions that are based around voodoo, and I think it's a really interesting culture, and yeah, that's a cool game, original, kinda, and well made, totally. So we're gonna play that. We're gonna get spooked, and oh yeah, of course, it's a long game. It's quite long, so we will have enough episodes, I hope, to cover the whole month of October. So that would be pretty cool. So without further ado, I'm gonna start the game. Brace yourselves for about 5 minutes of introduction cutscenes, which are kind of important if you really want to understand what is happening, but if you want to skip them, I will explain everything anyway, so feel free to do how you prefer. That's all. Hold on to your knickers. We are starting this little adventure called Shadowman.
Thousands of years, the Shadowmen have protected the world of the living against threats crossing over from the spiritual plane known as Deadside, the place where everyone goes without exception when they die. Michael Leroy is the current heir to the mysteries of this ancient lineage, bearer of the Mask of Shadows. When darkness falls, he becomes the walker between the worlds, immortal voodoo warrior, taker of souls, Lord of Deadside, the Shadowman.
The 9th of November, 1888. By my deeds am I known, and I am known as Jack. Spring-heeled Jack, Jack the Ripper. By my deeds am I known, and they are truly bloody. I took them all to my heart. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, Mary Kelly, and loved them, truly loved them all. But the immortal power I sought within the sordid confines of their bodies, the still beating organ of the soul, was not to be found. The ritual of the knife was to no avail. I am bereft, and must therefore perform that bloody ritual upon myself.
Stay your hand, Jack, and listen to what I have to say.
How did you find this place? Who are you?
My name is Legion, for we are many. The immortal power that you seek does exist. It does indeed lie within the soul, but only within certain ones, certain dark souls.
My God! What are you that you can produce such things from thin air?
Merely an explorer, much like yourself.
What is it that you want from me?
You are an architect by trade, are you not?
I am.
Then I would have you build a cathedral to pain. A place where you and I and others like us may join together. A place of asylum for all of the unique and misunderstood individuals that will follow you as the time of Armageddon approaches. And at the heart of Asylum, we shall construct a great dark engine powered by souls of equal hue. And we shall harness their power to create an immortal army to punish and cleanse this pathetic world.
And where might I build this cathedral of yours?
Across the veil, in the darkness, amongst the restless spirits of those who have passed beyond, in the place known as Deadside.
Then, if I am to join you, I must die.
It is prophecy. We cannot fail, for we are many.
For we are many!
Amen to that.
The end is sooner than you think. Come to mama, baby.
Hey there, Space Cadet. Damn, beautiful friend.
Are many.
There's a darkness coming.
What's the problem, Magneta?
I had a dream, Shadowman. A real bad dream. A Deadside dream. The five are here. The heralds of the apocalypse. Deacon's file confirms everything I feared. The end's coming, Shadowman. An ancient prophecy tells of the return of a great evil to Deadside. A terrible force gathering dark souls to its darker heart and using their power to cross over into this world and bring about apocalypse.
I must stop this evil from bringing about the end of all things.
Only you can do it, Shadowman. You are the walker between the worlds. I can't go Deadside, and Jaunty's next to useless in both worlds. You are the only one who can do anything about this.
As it ever was.
But you ain't never confronted anything like this evil. It's so pure, not even the ancient protectors of the Dark Souls could destroy it. They could only banish it from Deadside. They knew it'd come back one day, hence the prophecy telling of its return. The power of the ancients is all but gone now, and the dark souls that evil desires lie unprotected. What you gotta do, Shadowman, is to go Deadside and recover the dark souls. Take them into your own protection before evil gathers them to its terrible heart.
Okay, so let me get this straight. If I don't recover these dark souls, then the world's gonna end. Am I right?
You got it.
Shit.
Look, I gotta go. I've got a lot to do. Take Deacon's file and meet me at dawn at the church on the hill. I've kept your stuff safe for you.
I hate this shit. Just a pawn in Nettie's master plan. She moves me in mysterious ways, and brother, sometimes she really does move me. Can't do nothing about it since, nice as you please, she knitted my ribs into the mask of shadows. I got nothing left anyways. It's my fault Luke's dead, and Mom and Pop too. I deserve everything I get, every bad thing that comes my way. Can't live, can't die. Deadside's the perfect hood for me. A nowhere place. The asshole of the universe. Now where the hell is that church?
And here I am, back. So, a bit of an explanation on what you have just seen and heard. This guy is Michael Leroy. So he is a failed English literature student who basically spent all his college funds partying and gambling and drinking. And to pay for that, like to literally pay for that, he got a job as a taxi driver. And one day, as he was still struggling financially, he got a gang member in his taxi, on his backseat, and the gang member left a huge sum of money there. So he got the money at, I think it was $20,000, which, considering it was 20 years ago, adjusted for inflation, must be a huge sum of money. So he used that money to cover, because his family wasn't aware that he failed his studies, and he used that money to cover and also to buy gifts for his parents and his little brother Luke, and maybe some medical expenses for one of them. I don't remember exactly, but look at that dog. Something's gonna happen. Huh? This is a bad omen. The dog is alternating between its living and dead form, because the world of the living and the world of the dead are merging. But because of Legion, that you just saw in the intro. But more information on that later. And so basically what I was saying is that Michael Leroy, this failed English literature student turned taxi driver, kinda not really stole money, but from the gang members. But basically the gang members left a huge sum of money in his taxi, and he took the money and he used it for himself and his family, and of course the gang was after him. And so he learned that, and he went to see a bokor. A bokor is a voodoo priest, and the voodoo priest offered him protection. So he forgot all about the gang, and one day he was driving his taxi with his little brother Luke, his mom and dad with him, and that was when the gang attacked the taxi, and in a drive-by shooting. And so his little brother Luke, his mom and dad died that day, but he was under protection of the voodoo priest, so he did not die. And after that, the voodoo priest had actually offered him protection and the contract that he signed, he basically gave his soul to the devil. Except it's not exactly that, but the priest made him into a zombie, turned him into a zombie, literally, and a zombie in the voodoo sense, in the African sense, which means basically basically like a guided robot, or some mind-controlled, mindless puppet who got to do the priest's bidding, which was killing. Basically, he became an assassin. And so the priest was the enemy of a very old and very powerful voodoo priestess called Mama Nettie that you saw in the intro. This is her church. This is where she lives, and we're gonna see her. She's right around the corner. Just wanna finish that. That's why he said in the intro, they're all dead because of me, Luke, Mom, and Pop, and so that's the story basically. And so the priest had basically enslaved him, and kind of erased his brain to turn him into a zombie. And so this priest was the enemy of Mama Nettie, a very old and a very powerful voodoo priestess. So she killed that priest and absorbed his soul. So now Michael, Shadow Man, is hers. Yeah, that's it really. So I'm gonna... There's no camera controls, but I think you can see him if you... Maybe if I do this, no. Well, if you can see him in front, he's got a mask in his torso that she put there, and that makes him become the Shadow Man. So we're gonna see Nettie, and I'm gonna explain more on that after that.
Nettie?
Hey there, Mike. Glad you could make it.
How could I refuse your offer? How could I ever refuse you, Agneta?
You can't. I'm simply irresistible. I hope you read the file I gave you, and read it real well. Between the lines, you'll find the signs.
You got my stuff?
Come on in, honey.
You know, on the way over here, I got to thinking about these dark souls. If they're so damn dangerous, why didn't the ancients just destroy them?
Because that's impossible. Their power is their immortality. If evil ever manages to implant these immortal souls into its monstrous slaves, can you imagine the carnage an immortal, unbeatable army would bring to the earth? That's Apocalypse, Shadow Man. That's the end.
Okay, so I really gotta get to the Dark Souls before the bad guy. I understand that, but where do I find them?
In Govi. Each Govi has been sealed by the most powerful voodoo. Not even the greatest Bokor or Mambo can open them to release the dark soul within. Believe me, I've tried. But a Shadow Man, or something even more powerful, just might be able to do it. Release the dark soul and take it into yourself. But be warned, the dark souls are a pure and ancient evil and possess a power that should not be abused.
Okay. Let's just get this thing over with. You got my stuff?
Right here.
A real scare, Mike.
Jesus, Luke! He's alive! Alive and in pain! I gotta help him!
He's dead, Mike. You know that.
I know, but I saw.
It's understandable that you still have strong feelings for your brother. That's why the bear works for you, connecting you to Deadside. Use it now, Mike. Go Deadside and find Jonty. He's waiting for you at the Marrow Gates. He's got something to show you.
Okay.
And Mike?
Yeah?
If you need me, I'll be here. Now, go see Jonty and get them dark souls.
So, you know a bit more now. And, and my controller got disconnected. Fucking Bluetooth. Come on. Yeah. So, we gotta go Deadside. I think it's funny how they say go Deadside, like in Seinfeld when they take a taxi and say, I'm going downtown. It's exactly the same. What the fuck? Come on. Yeah, okay. So, these things I'm gathering here, these red and blue heart things, are Kado. And if you get 100, you can offer them to the gods, and it will increase your health meter by 1 block. Originally, your health meter, I think, has 5, and you can get it up to 10. If I remember correctly, those are Govi that she was talking about, but only a Shadow Man can open them, and this is live side. So you're only a Shadow Man.
I'm wasting my time here.
Yeah, shut up.
I should just use
I'm explaining this.
Deadside.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
Mike, there's no time to waste.
Yeah. Oh, fucking women. Anyway, you only have powers in Deadside. Basically, in life side, you're kind of useless. You don't have any magical powers, and you cannot really do anything. So Deadside is, as he explained in the intro cutscene, is the afterlife. It's the place where everyone goes when they die. So it's neither hell nor heaven. It's kind of both at the same time. And this is Lifeside. Lifeside is basically Earth as we know it. So I'm gonna grab the teddy bear that belonged to my dead little brother, and that's why it allows me. So this is my shadow gun. I'm gonna put it to the right hand. That's not the shadow gun, that's my normal gun, and when I go Deadside it becomes the shadow gun. So I assign it to the right hand, and then I gotta take the teddy bear, which it's a connection that I have to Deadside because it belonged to my little brother, which is now dead, so is in Deadside. So it's a strong emotional connection with the dead. That's why it allows me to teleport pretty much everywhere in Deadside, as long as I already visited, of course, the place. So that's the Marrow Gates. It's the entrance. It's not exactly the hub world, because the hub is a bit later. And actually I'm gonna rush to the hub. Why? Because there's a lot of backtracking involved in that game. And it's good backtracking. It's not.
I am the Lord of Deadside, Shadowborn at the confluence of worlds to walk between. Lifeside is without the meaning that my partly living possesses here in Deadside, where the darkness is manifest at the edges of reason. As a god, I step forth upon the writhing, suppurating surface of the Deadside serpent. What sleep is here? What dreams there are in the unctuous coilings of the snake's mortal shuffling. Weapon in my hand, the arcing death blow at the end of all things. The horror, I embrace it.
So, the question that you're probably asking yourself right now is, does he always do these cheesy, corny monologues? And the answer is yes. So I'm gonna rush past these guys, because they're kind of dangerous. They have an attack, which basically it's a ranged attack, and they can suck your health out of you at a distance. And it's really there's really zero way to avoid it. But they're kind of slow and weak, so my gun is weak too, because I gotta augment it basically with souls. This guy, the serpent right here, is Johnny, that we talked about earlier. What's his story? What's his deal? Well, he was an Irish man living in Dublin, and one day after he got drunk at the pub, he was getting home and he stopped to take a piss against a wall, and bad luck, that wall belonged to an occult fellowship, and they kidnapped him and they ritually sacrificed him. And yeah, so basically he died and he became some kind of weird demon-like serpent in Deadside, and that's where he met it's not exactly a meeting, but Nettie can see the afterlife, and she dialogued with him, and she basically saved him, and he became kind of her butler. And now instead of an Irish dwarf, he is a big-ass snake with a skull face and a top hat. Because that makes sense.
Over here, Michael. Hello there, Michael. How's that treating you?
Jaunty, kindly refer to me as Shadow Man. Michael Lavoie has no place here in Deadside.
Whatever, Mick. It's good to see you again. Seems like simply ages since I last set me eyes on your happy, smiling mug.
The feeling's mutual.
I suppose you've been away dallying with the old battle axe, giving her one with some of that righteous voodoo so she can stay forever young?
Something like that.
She's been filling your head with her fated pillow talk again, I'll bet. Doomsday in an army giddy until you're drunk with the stuff.
She did happen to mention a certain prophetic dream she's been having.
Did she now? Well, for once I think the owl witch might be right. See that bloody big black tower yonder?
How could I miss it?
Well, old Bruegel, the medieval painter blokey, was just telling me the other day that he thought it looked remarkably like a picture he once did.
Is that Peter Bruegel?
No, Seamus, his distant Irish cousin. Anyways, he was quite shocked, so he was, at the terrible mess that bloody thing's making. Appearing out of nowhere and tearing its way through the place like there's no tomorrow. Which, given what Nettie's saying, might not be too far from the truth.
Any idea what's going on in there?
Nope, and I shan't be knocking on the front door to find out neither. All I'll say is, if there's something wicked heading this way, it'll be coming from in there.
Nettie mentioned the Dark Souls. Can you tell me any more about them?
I'm afraid I'll have to reply in the negative again, Michael. Suffice it to say, Nettie's told me that they're bloody powerful, well nigh indestructible, and shouldn't fall into the wrong hands.
Any idea where they might be?
What am I, a Dark Soul travel guide now? I suppose you could try all of the ancient sacred places down amongst the Whalers and Shiverers. I just hope that none of them souls have ended up in that filthy big black tower.
From what Nettie was saying, some of them already have, which is all the more reason for me to be pushing on. Open the gates, Jaunty.
Places to go, people to see, eh, Michael?
Just open the gates, Jaunty.
Did I ever tell you about the time me and Attila the Hun were playing skittles with the guillotine heads of the French aristocracy?
Jaunty.
All right, keep your bloody hair on. Which, looking at your shining bonds, may prove to be rather difficult. Open sesame! And if you be wanting to pop by and chat a while, I'll still be here. It's just a shame we can't share a drap of the hard stuff together by a roaring peat fire.
I don't drink with snakes.
That line always shocked me. It's really racist, isn't it? Poor little snake. Anyway, I don't really know what he does except opening doors. Well, this door at least. You can talk to him later and he offers you, like, clues, but it's not really clues, it's really... Oh, fuck. So, yeah, this gun shoots screaming ghosts. Because, of course. Yeah, but the clues that he gives you are really obscure, so... Anyway... Shadow Man. What's the origin of Shadow Man? So that's what I was saying to you. I'm rushing because I got no business here. That's an area where you have to come back later when you have more items. Anyway, yeah, it's a comic book. Originally, it's a comic book. And that was bought. The license was bought by Acclaim. Acclaim, the video game manufacturers, the editors, makers, whatever you call it. And they bought it in the 90s, along with Turok, which is a much more famous game that they made out of comic. You know, the Native American FPS dinosaur guy thing on Nintendo 64? Well, I was saying, it's kind of unclear why they bought the comic books. Like, they bought the whole thing. They could have just asked for a license for adaptation. But no, they really bought the whole thing. It's kind of weird. But anyway, they made Turok and then they made Shadow Man. And it's kind of a loose adaptation of the comic books. It's not exactly... It's kind of like when Stanley Kubrick adapted like The Shining and The Clockwork Orange. The movies that he made are really different from the books, and same. They took a lot of liberties considering the original material, but it still really works. What they did really works. If I remember correctly, there were especially two guys that were in charge of the project, called Guy Miller and Simon Phipps, and they did a tremendous amount of work to make the Shadow Man franchise work as a video game. I think they really succeeded. Shadow Man is a great video game, a great universe, and yeah, the lore, the everything really works well. So can I kill this guy? As you can see, the weapon automatically aims, which is pretty cool. If you want to have an idea of the gameplay, well, think Ocarina of Time. I think pretty much everyone has played Ocarina of Time at some point, and the gameplay is really, really, really similar, except that you can jump, which is not the best thing, because there are some platforming stuff in there called temples, and they're not really... Oh, so that's a tougher enemy. It's called a Duppy. And Duppy is West Indies slang for an evil spirit.
Got it.
Some people call those zombies, but technically he's a Duppy. D-U-P-P-Y. So yeah, this game is really based on Jamaican and Louisiana voodoo, so the American version. It's kind of different from the African, because voodoo was originally invented in Africa, of course. But that's the American version, basically. I wouldn't be able really to tell you exactly how the... Oh, he's gonna kill me. No. Yeah, I got him. Got him! I wouldn't be able to tell you in detail how they differ from each other, but they're quite different. So, so as you can see, there's a HUD in the top, in the bottom right corner, and it disappears when it's not active. And it's rare when games do that, and I think it's really cool and it really works. I think games such as Dark Souls, for example, should have that, the disappearing HUD. So as you see, the red stuff is my health, and I'm not using anything else for now. I'm just kind of rushing through this area because, as I said to you, I got no business here. And so yeah, a claim about the whole comic book franchise, and they released Shadow Man. The game was released in 1999 on PC, Nintendo 64, PlayStation, and Dreamcast. And they released it also 14 years later on Apple Macintosh OS X. Because that's how it is. Of course. Oh, first puzzle. Like, puzzle. Oh. So, gotta press a button. Gotta press a fucking button. Oh, I'm not here, am I? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not a puzzle, it's a backtracking aid. Anyway, the game was released first on PC, and then on PlayStation, Nintendo 64, and Dreamcast pretty much at the same time. So, yeah. What, this is a door, by the way. And as you can see, there's some symbols which represent the soul level where you are. As you can see, there is a total of 10 soul levels. And first is, well, there's 11, right? Because right now I'm at 0. Because I have 0 Dark Souls. And when you got 1 Dark Soul, you get to level 1. And then you gotta get 2 more to get to level 2. And then 4 more, and then it goes up. And to get to level 10, you have to have all the 120 Dark Souls that are scattered throughout the game. But you don't have to get all the Dark Souls to finish the game. I think 70 is enough. Anyway, let's open the door.
I'm the Lord of Deadside.
He's the Lord of Deadside. He likes to say that a lot. So, in my opinion, they really did a multi-platforming release right. Because, oh, that's the Prophecy. That's a Prophecy. It's a book that contains spoilers and stuff that's kind of... obscure. Someone left me a note, he said. And yeah, that's the prophecy. It contains stuff that you're not really supposed to read now. The Deacon's File, I'm going to read that to you and do some commenting, do a kind of a bonus episode, because it's just lore and it's really not needed, but I think it's fun and interesting to read, so I'm going to do an episode when I'm just reading this stuff. And the prophecy, well, it makes much more sense if you read it at the end of the game, because right now it's just going to make no sense and you're not going to understand what is in it. It's just going to be spoilers. So how do I get out of the inventory like this? Anyway, that's a pretty badass song. Wish I could make screenshots, but there's a bug that's preventing me to do so. Anyway, they, as I was saying, they really did multi-platforming release right, because they first released it on PC, and PC has the full-fledged game, like with everything. So as you can see, this has one purple symbol, which means I gotta be at the Dark Soul level 1, which means I have to have one Dark Soul. And it's right there. I'm gonna go fetch it. So as I was saying, the PC has the full-fledged game. This is a special door. I cannot open it right now. I need more stuff. But this is the Govee, and the Govee contain the Dark Souls. And in that side, I can open them using my Shadow Gun, which fires those shrieking wraiths. And I'm gonna say it. So they released it on PC first, and the PC has the full-fledged game with everything, all the cutscenes, all the maximum quality of textures and sound and everything. The PlayStation version is crap, really. I'm not even sure why they bothered releasing it, because it runs around 15 FPS. Like, I'm not exaggerating, it really genuinely runs at 15 FPS with crap graphics and crap everything. The Nintendo 64 version is much better, especially if you have the expansion pack, which is just RAM, by the way. It's impressive how RAM used to be really meaningful. Now it's not so much an issue on anything, but for example, the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive, the Super Nintendo had a much slower processor at around 3 MHz, and the Mega Drive's processor was around 8 MHz. It was much faster, but the Super Nintendo had much more RAM. That's why it seemed more powerful. And so the Nintendo 64 version had an issue, because as you know, the Nintendo 64 didn't use CD-ROMs as every other platform at the time, but cartridges, which were much faster, but storage capacity was much smaller. So it had to be they had to remove some of the music, some soundtrack, some of the dialogues, and I think they had to simplify some of the levels too. Really. It was, but it was pretty good, and the controls really worked with the Nintendo 64 controller. And also there was a Dreamcast version that was, in terms of graphics and sound, it was kind of close to the PC version, but it had a fuck ton of bugs and glitches. So the PC version is kind of the one to have. I'm gonna shoot this Govee now and get the Dark Soul, and then explain to you why I think it's multi-platforming done right. He embraces the power of the Dark Souls. That's nice. Now let's open the door. But basically they did what every developer and editor should, which is release the full game on PC with all the graphical options and everything, the lighting effects, and the shadows, all that. And then for people who still want to play on consoles, they released a kind of simplified, dumbed down version. Oh fuck. Hadn't seen this guy. Die. Yeah, that's good. That's one good thing with Duppies, is that they get kind of stuck when you fire at them. Can I open this door? Nope. As you can see on the HUD, you can see my soul level.
Great.
And it's the inner circle, which is purple. The little skull, golden skull that I just got, which put one yellow thing in my meter, is for magic, but I don't have any magic weapons right now, so that's where I came from, and that's where I have to go. Yep. So yeah, some games are kind of even famous for having been, you know, simplified for the consoles and then released the same on PC. BioShock especially is infamous for that, and BioShock Infinite on PC could have looked much better with better textures and everything, but they choose to release a console version for everyone to make the same game for every platform, and I think that's multi-platforming done wrong. You should adapt your game to every platform and yeah, make it as good as you can. So 2K, you kind of fucked up with BioShock, even if it's a great game, and Acclaim, you did right with Shadow Man. Let's go there. I don't remember where this leads. He's gonna monologue again.
Unsalvaged souls that drift beyond the Marrow Gates for an eternity of waiting. This infinite limbo, this wasteland, this untamed, unnatural afterbirth I command with my endless darkness. What ineffable secrets are whispered within the paths of shadow? What red-edged realities rising bleak above the blasted skyline? Deadwing, Duppy, Zombie Mother. This voodoo lord outlasts them all. Got it.
So this is kind of the hub world. As you can see, there's lots of doors, and you can access them when your soul levels get up or when you have different items or tattoos. The tattoos you get in the temples, which are 100% voodoo magic temples, and kind of like the dungeons in Zelda. There's 3 of them. One of them allows you to touch fire or lava. Oh fuck! This guy got me good. And I fell into the blood. So yeah, that's blood. Oh, how do I swim? Fuck. And the dead fish are eating me alive. No, I'm not alive at all. I'm dead. They are gnawing on my dead body. What was I saying? Yeah, there are temples and the tattoos give you powers. You get tattooed by like lasers. It looks like lasers. And yeah. Oh yeah, it's a shadow gun. I can fire it. You can fire ghosts in the water, but they don't give you health, these fish, so better go there. Oh man, they're gonna kill me. Oh, they're not gonna kill me because I'm dead and I'm in dead side. But if you lose all your health, you respawn at the beginning of the map, basically. And if you get killed in life side, you respawn in dead side. As simple as that. And yeah. So there's one asshole is right behind there, in the right. And there's another one here that I did not see earlier. So, the more cells you have, the more your cell level augments. And when your cell level goes up, you can charge your gun to do a charge attack. So it doesn't really show here, since I'm still only at level 1, but after a while you can charge your gun to release really powerful ghosts and spirits, and really do a lot of damage to your enemies. Still really annoying that you have no camera controls. I really don't like that. But hey, that's how it works. Oh, I should go at the hut over there. You don't have any falling damage in that side. I think that's kind of clever. Oh yeah, that's the mechanism that you gotta activate first. Yeah, I think they did a lot of clever stuff. Like you don't have any full damage when you are in dead side, but you have when you're in the life side. It's kind of the details that make a great thing. I gotta catch this rope. Oh, it's a bit more on the right. Catch the rope. What, really? So I can get the cadeau up there. And yes, I was talking about the tattoos that you get in the temples that are kind of like Zelda dungeons. And one allows you to touch fire or lava. The other allows you to walk on fire or lava. And the third allows you to swim in fire or lava. There is also an item that allows you to, you know, there are those waterfalls, which are actually blood falls, because every body of water in that side is actually a body of blood. Oh, and you get hurt by fire, which this does not really make sense. But anyway. Yeah, it does. It does, because you're supposed to get a tattoo to walk on fire. So it totally does make sense. This is magic mana, basically. And I shouldn't be able to get it at this point, because I don't have any magic weapons. Just my shadow gun. Or maybe I should have a magic weapon and I skipped it because I rushed. Oh, the fucking fish, they're gonna kill me again. I'm just trying to grab this cadeau. Anyway. Mama Nettie, the voodoo priestess, is actually much older than she looks. I think she was born in the 18th century, something like that, and she stays youthful by she put her soul in the body of a 20-year-old woman who happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, apparently, or maybe she had the bone to pick with her. Don't remember exactly the details. It's kind of fuzzy, actually. In the game, it tries to explain some of the stuff, but it's never. Some stuff isn't really gonna die. Some stuff isn't 100% explained and kind of obscure. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking die. No, I'm not gonna die. I gotta stop saying that. I'm already dead. This is dead side. I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna respawn. Yeah. I got bitten too much by the fishes. So the bad guys respawn, but I hope the cadeau don't, and I hope I still activated the mechanism with the rope. I don't remember how respawning works in this game exactly. Yeah. So I cannot go up there because I need a special item to grab the waterfalls of blood. But I can dive. That's not diving. So that's where I came from. And I gotta go find the tunnel. Oh, I can shoot the fish from here. Where are the fish? Yeah. There are some target locking, like in Ocarina of Time. It really helps. Because you cannot control the camera. There's a mode where you can use your weapons in sniping mode. Basically, they call it sniping, but it's just, yeah, it's just first-person view, but you cannot move. That's kind of shitty, but that's better than nothing. That's exactly the kind of occasion where that would be useful, because they cannot get to me, but I can get to them. So that would be perfect, but doesn't seem to work. I'm gonna go check. Okay. Snipe. Yep. No sniping. Sniper, no sniping. So I don't really need left shift. Can't I just... Okay, something is wrong with my controller. Fuck. What the hell? Anyway. I don't know what's going on. I gotta go look at the Steam big picture bullshit later. Or maybe just use the keyboard, but it's weird. Because I cannot use the mouse, because the mouse really doesn't work well. It's a re-release that was re-released by GOG really recently, and then it was put on Steam like a couple years ago, I think. So sniping mode, does it work now? Yep. And yeah, the controls are a bit less good than in the original game in the release, even if they fixed a lot of bugs. There's something funny in the options. It's a dynamic shirt, as you can see in the options for the no, the graphic options are not, you cannot change them in game. That was a different time. But basically, you have in the graphic options, you get the dynamic shirt, which is basically Shadow Man's shirt. Does it move or does it stay still? And I think it's the ancestor of Hairworks. You know, Hairworks by Nvidia. I remember Hairworks from the 213 Tomb Raider reboot. And it was like, yeah, all it does is the ponytail of Lara Croft moves a bit better, and it like destroys your frame rate. Like if I activate Hairworks in Tomb Raider, I lose about 15 FPS. Anyway, I don't remember if in Shadow Man activating or not dynamic shirt does anything on the FPS. And for some reason, the Steam overlay does not work on this game, so I don't have Fraps. Maybe I should install it, but I don't think I will install it just for that. Especially since it's a really old game from 1999, so I'm probably... Oh, fuck! I'm probably getting I don't know, at least 500 FPS on that, or maybe it's capped at 60. Not sure. I know that on the Dreamcast version it run at 60 FPS, so I don't think it's capped at 30. It would not make sense. Got it. Yeah, often when he finds an item, he says, "Got it." Shadow Man talks a lot, and when you do nothing, it starts getting, "Hey, we're losing time. We're wasting time. We should really get going," and all that shit. And see, that was the mechanism that I was talking about earlier. And I remember in the when I got first Shadow Man, I got it in Nintendo 64. And it was the French version, and you could not choose the language, and they botched the translation, and there was a lot of stuff that did not make sense, and especially they translated "got it" by "understood." Like, of course, "got it" means understanding, but that's not what it means in the game. It means he got the item, like literally. But yeah, in the French version of the game. So that's a Deadwing, and they're really annoying because they're flying and you cannot look up because you cannot control the camera. So you gotta really rely on the automatic aiming, and often it's not worth it. You should just get the fuck out. I'm gonna die again. Oh, but actually I'm stupid. I'm trying to backtrack, but it's pointless because it's right there where I want to go. I'm gonna die anyway. No? I really gotta stop saying I'm gonna die. Dead already. Anyway, so that's what I was talking earlier. That's lava. So I cannot walk on lava at the moment because I don't have the right tattoos, so I cannot get there. There's a lot of backtracking involved in that game, as I already said, and I think it's a good kind of backtracking because, you know, it's the kind of, you see that you cannot go there, but you know that later you're going to be able to go there. You know, lots of doors need special items to be opened, or more souls, etc., etc. And I think it's a good kind of backtracking. Kind of like the dungeons in Zelda, actually. Oh fuck. Kind of like the dungeon in Zelda when you always go back to the same room. Like there's this big room in the center of every temple in Ocarina of Time, and you go back to the same room a bunch of times, and you see that maybe if I have more keys I can unlock this, or maybe if I have the grappling hook I can go up there, etc. And it's the same in Shadow Man. So oh fuck, stupid Bluetooth. It's the same in Shadow Man, it's pretty good. Bluetooth is failing me again. I gotta find a wire for this controller. Really? Actually, I think it's not Bluetooth's fault. I think it's a Windows 10 bug. Yeah. Someone is talking? Oh, sometimes the enemies talk to you. The more basic enemies just say something like meat, 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 fresh meat. But sometimes they start saying stuff like, I don't know, I want to do BDSM roleplay with ya, some shit like that. Anyway, let's not get killed. Let's just ignore those bastards. I got a weak gun anyway, and no magic weapons. Yeah, you hear them? That's the Duppies. I think we're talking. Or no, maybe it's the Bicephalotes. So there's a lot of enemies in this game that are pretty cool designs, and one of them are the bicephalodes, and it's just basically it's a torso with 2 arms and 2 heads. I don't see any right there, but they recognize you. They when they see you, they call you Shadow Man, and then they spit big balls of snot to you. So it's always like Shadow Man. You're gonna recognize this sound soon, because that's gonna happen a lot. Well, I'll still need to go fast and not get killed. I really have a hard time getting used to these controls. Getting reused, because I used to be good at this when I was a kid. Because we didn't know any better. We played Nintendo 64 like chumps. And yeah, camera controls make a world of difference. Anyway. That's a pretty cool way to show if you got a level or not, because there are 120 Dark Souls in the game, but of course getting a Dark Souls, oh fuck, there's so many of them, I'm gonna get wrecked. I'm gonna get riggedy wrecked, son. That's not good. That's really not good. Can I? No, I can. Yeah, I can get them from here. Often you can use the environment in Shadow Man at your advantage. That's pretty good.
Got it.
But yeah, that's the pretty good way of showing without showing. When you had when you got a Dark Soul, if you increased your soul level or not. Of course you can see on the HUD, but if you don't want to look at the HUD, and that's something that's kind of understandable in a game that's really immersive like this one, even if the graphics kind of look goofy, it's really immersive. And yeah, he says a different thing when you got a Dark Soul and it makes you go to the next soul level. He says, "The power of the Dark Souls, I embrace it." But when he just gets a soul and it doesn't put you to the next level, he says, "The Dark Souls are mine." So it's slightly different, which is really different actually. If he says the Dark Souls are mine, he's not getting an extra level. But if he says the power of Dark Souls, I embrace it, then he got an extra level. I think it's a pretty good way to complement the HUD. Give you fuck, right on my head. Give you extra info, several different ways. Oh man, I really got hit. I think when you get more souls, you get more defense too. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. There you can see me charging my gun, but I got difficulties aiming. Can you just? It's too far. I cannot lock target on this guy. It's a bit too far. And this one is bugging. There's gonna be an easy kill. Let's lock targets. Remember that they can spit snot at you, those guys too, so no, I cannot lock. Man! Locking target was easier in my memory, but not even sure where I'm supposed to go. Because I was at the dead end. Oh, here's the button. The hardest button to batten. Yeah, I saw the rope. Thanks. So I pushed the button. That was pretty good. And then I gotta go up this path. No, there's. Yeah. Gotta go up this path again. Yeah, it's kinda like in Tomb Raider 3, where you gotta find the button or the mechanism or whatever. I mean, all the Tomb Raiders did that up to the reboot that turned the exploration game into a combat game, and it should have changed name because you're not doing any tomb raiding anymore, or like it's optional. That's kind of weird. It's now Lara Croft, badass, not Tomb Raider, because she's not raiding tombs anymore. But yeah, there's some action, some shooting, some exploration, some platforming. There's Bicephalotes that I was talking about earlier, and I'm gonna get killed because my controller stopped working again. No. These guys can shoot snot at you, but they prefer biting. And they always call you by your name. And they always make these teeth sounds. I love that. Kind of like the teeth sound in Amnesia, but better, even if it was more in the past. I think the sounds are really well done in that game, especially the enemies, the way they talk to you, shout at you. The sound effects were really good in my opinion. Even if there was something funny. Oh fuck! There was something funny about the sound in this game, and also the music, the soundtrack. What's weird is that it's absolutely bit crushed, and why? Well, because even if MP3 at the time of release had been around for full 6 years, they choose not to use it and use the old format WAV instead. And of course, for the same amount of sound, WAV takes much more space than MP3. So to be able to put the game in a CD-ROM, they had to really give a shitty bitrate to the samples and the soundtracks and everything. I think that's really weird. I don't know why they used WAV instead of MP3, and of course it made the N64 version sound really bad because they had to bit crush even more to put the sounds in the cartridge. But yeah, the musics and the sounds and everything are really bit crushed in the game. And I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they used WAV instead of MP3. Doesn't make sense to me, but maybe there was a reason.
Power of the Dark Souls. I embrace it.
So you see, I gained a level. He said, I embrace it. So now I can open more doors and charge my gun more. I think we are approaching the hour mark. I think I've been playing for about 1 hour now. So gonna stop probably soon because I don't want these videos to be too long. Maybe I should release it in several videos. Ah, damn. No, I don't think so. I think 1 hour videos for the Let's Plays are pretty good format. Anyway, let's go up there, and then... Yeah, the platforming is really hard. I mean, for me, it's right now because I gotta get used to the controls and I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time. I should put my gun away. You can put your gun away, that helps. But, oh, there's the ledge here. The fact that you cannot look around or behind you or anything, you cannot control the camera at all, really doesn't help. There's a lot of jumps where you kind of gotta hope it's gonna go well, because you cannot see what you're doing, or you gotta, you know, trial and error. That's not a great... this should be useful, yeah. That's the Asson. It sprouts fire like all the magic weapons in the game. I'm gonna assign it to the left hand. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing in the game. You can have one weapon in your right hand and one weapon in your left hand. I think it's really nice. More games should have this. And you see, you can put the things on fire now, if you have enough mana. With the mana are the golden skulls that you can find. And you can shoot them both at the same time. And it's really efficient. Even if, of course, you drain your mana. The shadow gun has infinite ammo. I don't know where these ghosts and souls are coming from, but... Anyway, I just got the Asson. I think I'm gonna stop filming now. That's a good place to stop. See ya, guys, in the next one. And don't worry, I'm gonna read the whole Deacon file, which explains all about the serial killers and everything, in a bonus video that I'm gonna release right after this one. So I'm gonna save now, and well, see ya soon, guys. Peace.